I want to get personal with finance today. I'm excited to share with you another model to get you to think differently about finance. And it's to get you to understand the difference between someone who's rich and someone who's wealthy. So let's get started. So the model I've created is called the 3 circles of building wealth. So before we get into the specifics, one thing that I realized as a practicing professional is the word riches and the word wealth is thrown around a lot. You see this in the media, you see some of my clients use it as well too. They use it interchangeably without really distinctively understanding the difference. And part of financial planning and getting personal with your finances is that to understand kind of these definitions and words and how we relate to these words that we use, basically, because how we define a word or something, defines our reality and programs our thinking. So for example, riches, if I can put it simply, it's like what rappers or social media, that is their perception of someone who's financially successful, riches, right? So riches is simply defined by a dollar sign. It's defined by the bling that they have, the dollar signs, what rappers sensationalize basically, right, in social media. But wealth is what they're really talking about. And wealth can be boring as well too, but wealth is what riches mature to become. And wealth is measured by time. So rich, pretty simply, just think of it as a dollar sign, and wealth is measured by time. So time is everything. Time, what we mean by time is that is the ultimate precious commodity, right? That, there's time and money that we trade that we trade every day, that we use. It's our currency. But when you have time on your side, meaning, the saying goes, time is money. So when you have freedom of time, meaning you don't have to actively work. I don't have to go to work, punch in from 8 to 5. For every hour, I make $25, right? You don't have to do that because now you have passive income, you have investments, assets that pay you. You own things that appreciate over time. So basically, you don't have to actively work. You have the freedom not to work, right? So because of that, you have time on your side. Your average Joe in America, the last time I heard this statistic was a long time ago, so I don't know, you can do your own research, but your average Joe is about 2 to 3 paychecks away from bankruptcy. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt and just say most people are 2 to 3 months away from bankruptcy, meaning if they don't get paid, if they don't work and get income in for 2 to 3 months without any income, they're not just broke, they're bankrupt, meaning they can't afford rent, they're out in the streets. So it's kind of scary, right? So by definition of wealth, they're about 2 to 3 months wealthy. By the definition of riches, they're rich by how much money they have. And so to kind of give you another perspective is this. So when someone who is, it could be the case where the richer someone gets, the less wealthy they become. And you're going, well, how does that make sense? Well, let me prove it to you. Let's just say you make $300,000 a year, your riches, right? How much money it is, but you spend about $290,000 a year, and you bring in $300,000, you spend $290,000, you're really left with $10,000. But really, your money habit, your money flow, the way you spend your money or your finances is built on a platform of living paycheck to paycheck. So if you don't get money coming in, you're absolutely screwed. You cannot pay for that lifestyle that you have, and therefore you live paycheck to paycheck, so you're not really wealthy. The day that you stop working because of an injury or something comes up or whatever, you lose your job or the jobs or whatever you're doing is no longer available, you are screwed. And you don't have a savings account or you don't have an emergency account that gives you 3 months of time. That's where people come up with the idea of a emergency account where they give you like 3 to 6 months of savings. So if something were to happen, you have 3 to 6 months of wealth, right, for you. But when someone, like a lot of my clients, when they're retired or they're into retirement, they have so much passive income that they invest along the way with their career that they have so much that by the time they stop working, they're retired. So by the time they're done with their job, they're done with their career, or actively working, they have so much passive income coming in that pays for all of their living expenses. So therefore what? They're permanently wealthy. Time is now on their side in a sense. Just on the subject of time, when you talk to retirees, you'll see these surveys, but basically they're not afraid of dying too soon. They're actually more afraid of living too long. Because why? Because they will run out of money. The amount of money that they save up doesn't generate enough income to provide for their longevity. As they live on more, there's healthcare costs and all these costs that they cannot afford because they don't have enough savings. So they're afraid of living too long. That's where it's scary. So time is really important. And it comes back to, again, building wealth, right? So this 3 circles of wealth that I put together in this infographic is to get you to understand what are the components of wealth, right? And the first one that that I preach all the time is savings. Your habit pattern should be make money, save, then spend. Not make money, spend, and then save, right? It doesn't work that way. Saving is paying yourself first. It's paying down debt is paying yourself because that frees you, right, from that obligation. When you save, you're preparing yourself so you can take that money and invest it. You can take that money when you have enough savings, you don't miss out on opportunities. So if something were to happen in the stock market or some correction happened, you have enough savings to then put to work right away for you, or somebody presents you with a business opportunity, you have savings to invest, right? So savings is the essential. I mean, you look at companies, I get it. It's not sexy where people are saying like, oh, well, like that just sounds boring, like saving, put money in the bank. What are you talking about? Well, again, they're not talking about the same thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about saving towards something, that type of mindset. And it can be at the bank, but again, you're very intentional about it. So you don't miss out on opportunities. You look at companies like Apple or the biggest mature companies out there, they have huge amounts of savings. That's called their cash position, right? It allows them to have a solid foundation for them to do mergers and acquisition. So when they screw up on some project or something that they're doing, a product launch or something, they're okay. They have a lot of liquidity. It gives them a lot of breathing room. It makes their investor feel safe, right? So your finances should be the same thing. That's what we're talking about here. So savings is the big part of that 3-circle. And then the other part of it is assets and equities. What are assets? Assets, again, are things that you acquire, that you own, that you invest in, that generates income, that pays you, right? It pays you in dividends, it pays you in income, like real estate is a common example. Businesses, right? Franchises that pay you income, right, from the proceeds. Equities are like stocks, right? It's very simple. Like let's say one of the big mega cap company stocks, right? Like Salesforce, like Nvidia, Amazon, etc. Obviously, some of them don't pay any dividends, but still, you have assets that accumulate over time that if you need the money, you can sell bits of it and generate income, or use that to reposition to another asset. And that's a big component of wealth. And then the third thing is what? They have passive income. So passive income, a lot of my clients have real estate, myself included, obviously. So like this office building, it allows for me to have more passive income. Again, more time. So with that freedom of time that these passive income allows me, I get to do like this passion project. I get to be more charitable. I get to volunteer. I get to be more generous with my time when I'm spending it mentoring other college students or youth and education is my passion. So I get to do those things. I spend time with my family, right? So all of these things are conscious decisions I made when I was younger, and I save. Again, like that's what it's all about. Instead of eating out, I'm eating in, right? So, or if I'm eating out, I'm using coupons, whatever it is that I can save, because again, my future is important to me, and so and that I'm living that future today, right? So that's what it's all about. So the 3 circles of wealth that really makes your wealth solid are, again, savings, assets and equities, and passive income. And obviously, the more you have these things, the better you are with your wealth. That you can really feel good about yourself and say that you are a wealthy person. Part of this infographics that I put together, I talk about to build wealth successfully. Literally, it's a sentence I put together, and it just spells it out. It's very simple. First, save, right? Then invest to compound your money and income so you can turn your riches into wealth. Very simple. So let's kind of take that bit by bit. So first, save. Bank as much money as possible. That's what that means, right? You are your greatest investment. You have all the income potential in the world, and banking as much money as possible is that, because again, so you can realize your potential. I get this whole YOLO, you only live life once thing, but again, you will have a future, and hopefully it's something you look forward to, right? So saving, paying yourself first, you are the greatest asset, because again, you use that saving to reinvest in yourself, right? You can be an astronaut, you can be whatever you want to be, you can build space rockets, you can build a startup tech company. It's really important that you prioritize yourself first. So it's always important to pay yourself first, and that's safe. Then you think about investing, right? So when you have savings, you're prepared. So savings is part of that mindset of being prepared. And when opportunity presents itself, you are prepared, right? Opportunity preparation meets opportunity. That's luck, right? That's the moment you've been waiting for. So that's really important. So when you invest, the idea of investing is to grow your money and to generate more income. It's simple as that. That's what we mean by investing. And from sources of what? You invest in what? Assets and equities. Simple, right? So, and then you invest to do what? To compound, to grow, right? And by the way, it's the rule of 72. It's something I put on there. The rule of 72 is you take 72 divided by whatever rate of return. So for example, if you take 72 and you know this investment grows 8%, so 72 divided by 8 is what? It's 9. So it takes 9 years for your money to double. Compounding, Albert Einstein called it the 8 wonders of the world or something like that. But it's really essential to understand. And part of the circle of wealth that kind of connects everything besides time, money, is the law of compounding. That is absolutely important. You talk to anybody who understands wealth and the value of time and building time for themselves into the future, they understand time. It's all about accumulating riches so they can put that to build wealth, right? So, and that wealth allows them time. And so the rule of 72 gives you that formula where, oh, this investment grows 8% a year, 72 divided by 8, that means it's 9, that means it takes 9 years for my money to double, right? So compound your money and income. The idea is reinvesting, right? So for me, I'm all about reinvesting. The income that I get, generally I don't need because I have a great career. And so I use that to live off of, but anything that I'm making, I'm reinvesting as much as I can. And I'm reinvesting in my business, I'm reinvesting in myself to acquire new skills, to learn, so I can be not just competitive, but be resourceful, to be knowledgeable, to be prepared, because things are changing so much, right? And that's kind of, I've learned it's not about being an expert at something, it's more like being an expert learner, right? There's always things you can learn, because whatever you're good at, that's gonna be obsolete in a very short time. So it's making sure that you're learning, and part of this YouTube channel is this is what it's all about. So you can turn your riches, again, into wealth. You wanna turn dollar signs into time. That's what it's all about. I mean, to drive the point home as a parent, I can tell you, in our economy, we believe that time equals money. But that's a big mistake. I mean, let's be real. I cannot say, like my time with my parents, right? So I'm very proud of retiring my parents, but sometimes I'm so busy, I don't have enough time to spend with them. But, or my spouse, let's use that as an example. I can't say, hey, honey, I love you, yada, yada, yada. I can't spend time with you, but here's a lot of money. Money does not equal time in that regard. What she wants, and my kids, for example, my family, what they want is my time. I can give them as much money as possible, but that's not gonna do anything. And one of the things I learned about parenting, now that I'm a parent, but I see this when I was a child or growing up, is that a lot of my friends that were spoiled by just their parents' money, they don't end up so well, let's just put it that way. Because they're thinking that, hey, I'm not spending enough time with my kids, I'm just gonna give them a lot of toys and things and spend money on them because that equals the same thing, right? This is obvious. We know that's not the same thing. It's really important that as we build our wealth or we put together a financial plan, that we understand this aspect. And so that's why I put together this model to really communicate it as clearly as possible, to empower you, anybody that's watching this, to really understand. Because part of your wealth journey or on your journey for your career and your future success, it's really important that you understand these things. I mean, really understand it. So you can internalize it and make decisions and see the world a little bit differently. And that's what it's all about. So with that, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.